what I've just said about regarding, to understanding or believing in the law of karma is very important, because sometimes, there is some. In fact, it's happening within with a lot of practitioners. When they're beginning become a Buddhist, they believe in all these karmas, and they're very concerned about that. Then after some time, they're involved with some different practice, and and so then after some time they forget these karmic, and then they feel more important what they do practice rather than what they should, really affect, And then even sometimes when you have face different situations and you are able to do anything, So this is very dangerous, because actually that's why the first teachings of Buddha he taught is Four Noble Truth, So that time he's explaining, So when we're talking about view, we are not necessarily talking about emptiness. There are many kinds of view, So right now, the view that I'm talking about is really, practical view, not talking about emptiness, like shunyata, This is after some time, you will understand. But right now, everybody facing problems, everybody looking for something happiness. Everybody wants to, get rid of the sufferings. So this is a fact. So have to understand why you're suffering and why everybody is looking forward to achieve happiness, But then sometimes they don't accomplish that. Why? So this is, reason is because of karma. So it's very important to understand, the belief in this. If you don't believe in the karma, and then you're doing different practice, like yidam practice or bodhicitta practice or meditating on the shunyata, this is just show. It's not really the truth. Really, I'm just saying, because dharma have to affect the mind, to tame yourself, to tame your mind. And then, if you cannot tame that, then every practice is become a show. And sometimes, and once you don't have that kind of right view, then practice can be just for fame, name, and then for temporary benefit, maybe for luck, to have a good business, that, and then it involves a lot of things, because you don't have a solid view, the foundation of what you're doing, why you're doing practice. So that's why I'm saying this is very important to believe, because even though you don't know, if you believe in the law of karma, and that is the essence of teaching. So because of that, it's all of you, all the practitioners, it's very important you to check yourself of besides, thinking how practice you're doing, but also you should check yourself that what is your really view of, or the purpose of practice. This is very important, because sometimes that when you hear all profoundness of the teachings and the practice of Mahayana and Vajrayana, that seems everything is very easy, everything can be very easily purified, When you hear this, and then you start losing about karma, and you don't feel so important. So it can be purified anytime, So this is wrong, really, because if you don't believe in that, it seems you're not believing in Buddha, frankly speaking. So it's very important everybody should live in, that is really the so-called moral conduct, and that is the base of every teaching. Why we have to develop bodhicitta? Because of that, So I wanted to tell you, I'm not telling you anybody you're not having that, but I'm just telling you general, generally this could happen. And then once you don't have that, then you start to have problems, you don't feel progress of your practice, and you don't, and also because of that, and then sometimes you lose courage to do the practice because you don't have a solid, the view. So this is very important, you to check, time to time, how you believe, and what is your attitude of, towards your practice, and this is very important. There's one thing I would like to make, regarding this understanding of outer Lama and inner Lamas, and then there's sometimes, there's some like this. Some people, when they have, some kind of understanding, inside, and then they think that now I can manage myself, and then they start, they don't, feel like they need any more, guidance or teachers, so that they're forgetting, or they try to have a respect to the, your own, their own teacher. Or some people, they think like when their teacher pass away, then they think, now he's finished, nothing to do more, So this kind of relationship with the guru is not correct. Because actually, when you have a more understanding, I'm sorry to tell you that sometimes even some, who's doing retreat, I'm not telling you any of you who have done 3 years retreat, but some people who have done 3 years retreat, and they must have a respect to their retreat instructor, unless he's not, not qualified. But then I can see some people, after they're coming out of retreat, then they don't have any respect to their retreat instructor. And they think they are equal, same. I've done 3 years retreat, he's done things. They feel that kind of, disrespect feeling. And this is a very clear sign that he hasn't achieved any, understanding inside. As you have a more understanding inside, you should have more devotion. That's the natural, So that's why now when I said, outer inner teacher, I don't mean you have to distinguish, because through you can have an understanding of inner guru by blessing of your outer guru, which is living teacher and from the lineage, And like for example, the ordinary way of the having teacher, like when you're in school, so then you have a different teachers, every year that you pass different subject, different class, then you have a new teacher, but that's they have the quite different relationship to the guru that what we are talking about here, because I've noticed a number of people, they ask me that, some their teacher, when they, guru, they pass away, and that they think now, they have to find some new guru, and, which is, maybe it is something to do with the cultural, because they have no background of the reincarnation of, that kind of, so maybe something to do with that. But actually it's not, because your guru is guru for forever. Whether he is living teacher, he's alive or not, but he is guru, And if you have enough, devotion and faith, and that should not be changed by whether he is life or not, and then also, like just now what I've said, sometimes people have a feeling that, way of relating to teacher is sometimes it's like more like I don't know whether it's a right example, like the fashion, that you try to change teacher to teacher, so that you hear new word and new teaching, and then you feel, that makes you more, gives you more inspiration. That, of course, it's very important to have received teachings from, different teachers. That is necessary. But then, Guru, having Guru is not, you cannot change like that, that you change different clothes, there's different fashion, you cannot change like that. And if you try to do that, that means that your devotion and faith is not really, strong or, tempo. Stable, And so this is very important, just now, I've said, I'm quite disappointed to see nowadays, a lot of people are doing 3 years retreat center. And then, of course, they are very respect to the high lamas who sits on a high throne and wearing good robe, and who has a big name and, position. But then they try to treat very ordinary way for the instructors, retreat instructors. This is very bad, because actually, whether he is high lama or not, but as long as his retreat instructor means he is the one who is showing you the nature of mind. But then when they come out, and then they doesn't pay respect, that is very, I'm not talking, this is nothing to do with the Tibetan culture. I mean, this is just, the Dharma culture, And so this is very important, you to understand how to relate it. That's why there's, the particular teaching, what is the relationship between the, Guru and the student. This is, it's important to learn.